Most people fast for 12 hours. The research says you need 14. Here's why you have been fasting. Maybe not perfectly, but you have been putting in the hours, stopping eating at night, waiting until morning, doing what every health account told you to do, and the belly fat is still there. Here is what nobody told you. 12 hours is not enough. Not for fat burning, not for cellular repair, not for the hormonal reset that actually changes your metabolism after 40. The research does not say 12 hours is bad, it says 12 hours is the beginning, the point where your body finishes digesting and stops actively storing. That is not fat burning. That is just stopping the damage. Fat burning starts later, 2 hours later. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what your body switches on between hour 12 and hour 14, that it cannot switch on before, and why those 2 hours are not a small improvement. They are a different biological state entirely. Before we start the clock, you need to understand one mechanism that controls everything inside a fasting window. Insulin, not as a sugar-handling hormone, as a physical lock on your fat cells. Inside your fat cells sits an enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase. Its job is to break apart stored fat molecules and release them as fuel your body can burn. Insulin suppresses that enzyme directly. While insulin is present, the lock is engaged. Your fat cells cannot release what is stored inside them. When insulin drops low enough, the lock opens. Fat cells start releasing energy. Your body starts burning what has been sitting there for months. The entire question of fasting comes down to this. How long does it take for insulin to drop low enough and stay low long enough for your body to genuinely commit to burning stored fat? 12 hours is rarely enough. Here is why. Hours 0 to 3. Your body is digesting. Insulin is elevated. Fat cells are locked. Nothing is being burned from storage. Hour 3 to 6. Digestion slows, insulin begins falling. But the metabolic effects of insulin last much longer than the hormone itself. Your fat cells do not immediately receive the signal to open. The system has lag built in. You are not in fat-burning territory yet. Hour 6 to 10. Your liver is working through its glycogen reserves, the stored sugar it uses to keep your blood sugar stable overnight. Some modest fat oxidation has begun, but this is maintenance level, not the meaningful fat mobilization that changes your composition over time. Hour 10 to 12. Liver glycogen is nearly depleted. Your body is shifting fuel strategy. Ketone production is beginning. You are approaching the threshold. And then most people eat. They stop the fast at the exact moment their body is preparing to shift gears, not after it has shifted, before. The engine reaches operating temperature and gets turned off. At hour 12, your body has accepted that no food is coming soon. It has not yet concluded that food is genuinely scarce. That distinction drives everything. When your body accepts food is delayed, it begins fat oxidation cautiously. When it concludes food is genuinely unavailable, it commits to it fully. Two things happen between hour 12 and hour 14 that do not happen before. First, growth hormone begins its steepest rise. Growth hormone is one of your body's most powerful fat-mobilizing hormones. It signals fat tissue to release stored energy, and simultaneously it tells your muscles to preserve lean tissue during the fast. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation documented that the sharpest elevation of growth hormone during fasting occurs in the 14 to 24-hour window. This matters enormously after 50. Growth hormone declines naturally with age. Fasting is one of the few ways to temporarily restore elevated pulses, but only if you reach the window where it actually rises. 12 hours does not reliably get you there. 14 does. Second, autophagy accelerates meaningfully. Autophagy is your cell's internal cleaning process. It identifies and recycles damaged proteins and cellular debris that accumulate over time. Yoshinori Osumi won the Nobel Prize in Physiology in 2016 for mapping how it works. At hour 12, autophagy has begun. But research consistently identifies 14 hours as the point where autophagic activity shifts into a higher gear. Not gradually, a step change, a different gear. At hour 12, you are at the entrance. At hour 14, you are inside the room where the biological work actually happens. Marcus is 54. He had been fasting 12 to 13 hours most nights for 8 months, eating clean, walking a few times a week, belt on the same loop, nothing moving. When I walked him through this biology, his question was simple. What am I missing in those last 2 hours? Everything, I told him. You are stopping the engine right as it reaches operating temperature. He made one change. Pushed his first meal from 8 or 9 in the morning to 10, 2 extra hours, 5 days out of 7. 6 weeks later, his energy in the late morning had changed. His mental clarity was more consistent, and for the first time in 8 months the scale had moved. Not because he ate differently, because he waited. Your body does not respond to effort. It responds to signals. 12 hours sends a signal. 14 hours sends a different signal, not a louder version of the same one, a categorically different one. At hour 14, insulin is at its lowest point in your 24-hour cycle. Growth hormone is rising, autophagy has shifted gears, free fatty acids are circulating at high concentration. Every major hormonal signal is pointing in the same direction at the same time. This convergence does not happen at hour 12, it happens at hour 14, and it cannot be rushed. It happens when conditions are right, when insulin has been low long enough, when your body has concluded, based on sustained evidence, that stored energy needs to be mobilized. 2 hours is not twice the benefit. It is a different destination. The adjustment is smaller than it sounds. If you currently eat your first meal at 8, push it to 10. If you eat at 9, push to 11. You do not need to overhaul your eating window. You need 2 more hours of quiet for your biology to reach the state where fasting does what you thought it was doing all along. One thing makes those 2 hours easier. End your eating window with protein and fat rather than carbohydrates. Eggs, fish, chicken, lentils with minimal bread, rice, or sweets. Protein and fat clear insulin faster than carbohydrates. Your body reaches the fat-burning threshold earlier inside the same window. And consistency matters more than perfection. 5 days out of 7 held within an hour of the same timing produces far stronger metabolic results than 7 perfect days followed by a weekend of no structure. If this gave you a clearer picture of what your body is actually doing during a fast, subscribe to Science-Based Living. Every video here starts with the biology, explains the mechanism clearly, and ends with something you can actually use. No supplements, no extreme protocols, no motivation speeches. Just the science of what is happening inside you, explained so it changes what you do tomorrow morning. And in the next video, I will show you what to eat when you break that 14-hour fast. Because the first meal after a properly completed fasting window either extends everything the fast created or undoes it within 30 minutes. The difference is specific, and almost nobody gets it right.